Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I want to share with you the commitment of this Sheriff's Office. The people of Sandoval County and beyond, we are here to protect and serve everyone in Sandoval County, our residents, our visitors, and our tourists. Our priority is their safety and well-being. Today's focus is on our unsolved, suspicious, and/or missing person cases. We are pleased to announce that 83% of unidentified human remains have been identified in the past 18 months. This is a significant accomplishment, and Detective Don Tuning will detail how this was achieved. I want to share now our twofold message. One, we are committed to identifying anyone who is discovered deceased in our county, no exceptions. We want to know who they were. We want to give closure to the families, and if needed, we will seek justice for the deceased. Number two, these cases are a priority and will not be ignored. Our expanded, dedicated staff will use a combination of forensics, advanced technology, and resources powered by law enforcement experience. We will find the answer, and if a crime has been committed, we will hold those responsible accountable. Our current results demonstrate this. Now, I would like to introduce our county manager, Wayne Johnson.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Again, welcome to Sandoval County. I want to welcome the members of several other agencies, the Albuquerque Police Department and the Corrales Police Department, for being with us today. Teamwork is what this is all about, and finding who these families are, who these people are, is about teamwork. As the Undersheriff stated, public safety is our priority here, from the Sheriff's Office to Fire and Rescue, to our Public Works, who are responsible for our roads and buildings, and our Community Services Department that manages our senior and community centers. We are here to ensure the well-being and to enhance the quality of life for all of our residents and visitors. Sandoval County is a Class A county and one of the fastest growing counties in the state. And that is great, but with this growth comes the real world reality. We have crime here, which we address, and also becomes, because of our rural geography, we are vulnerable to those wishing to hide their crimes. Not all the crimes that we have to deal with started here. Often they end here. Our sheriff knows this, and that's why 2 years ago he took the steps necessary to mitigate this vulnerability. He hired an experienced out-of-state detective to lead the effort to solve these special cases. Because let's be fair, fortunately, we don't see tons of such cases here, but we do want them to be solved, and that's what we're doing here. So to tell you about this, I'm going to introduce to you today Detective Don Tuning. And by the way, if you've ever talked to him about investigations, I got into a conversation with the detective over a Christmas lunch. It's amazing the detail that goes into it. My wife watches a lot of the true crime stuff, true crime TV. They don't even touch the depth of detail, and you all know this from your police work, that actually goes into this case. That is just a simple overview of all the work that's been done. So I can't underscore more and give him more credit for the work he's doing to find these folks. Detective Tuning.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Donald Tuning. I'm a detective for the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office. Please hold all questions till the end of the event. I'm joined today by representatives of the Corrales Police Department, Albuquerque Police Department, Sandoval County Sheriff's Office, Sandoval County Fire and Rescue K-9 Team, and the Rocky Mountain Information Network. We are here today to provide the public with information concerning 3 unidentified human remain cases, which I'm going to refer to as UHRs. In the spring of 2024, the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office had 4 unsolved UHR cases. One of these cases dated back to 1999. In late 2025, the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office received 2 additional cases of UHRs discovered in the Cibola National Forest. These 2 individuals were quickly identified. One was reported missing from Albuquerque Police Department in August of 2022. I'm happy to report that all but one of the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office UHR cases have been identified as of this date. These cases become dormant because traditional investigative methods have been exhausted. A primary reason is the lack of physical evidence or inability to analyze existing evidence with technology available at the time of the original investigation. Uncooperative witnesses, a complete absence of witnesses, or unreliable testimony can also halt progress on these cases. The passage of time itself can make leads difficult to pursue, or as memories fade, witnesses move or pass away, and evidence deteriorates or is lost. Forensic science, advanced genetic genealogy, the addition of experienced investigators, and dedicated man-hours to these cold cases have made it possible to identify victims and resolve these old cases. The first case we will discuss is the identification of missing person Stephen Overton. On December 31st, 2025, New Year's Eve, hikers discovered human skeletal remains in the Cibola National Forest off of Forest Loop Road, Placitas. On New Year's Day, 2026, the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office assisted New Mexico OMI in recovering these remains during a 4-hour search with the assistance of the Sheriff's Office drone. The search party located a Smith's Grocery Rewards card with an ID account number. Smith's informed us that the card was registered to Mr. Stephen Overton, who had disappeared from Placitas in August of 2022. Mr. Overton was reported as a missing person by the Albuquerque Police Department on August 23rd, 2022. These human remains were identified as Mr. Stephen Overton by use of his dental records. Mr. Overton's death is not believed to be suspicious in nature at this time, and his family members have been notified of his recovery. The second case we'll discuss is Hector Ramirez Jr. On October 24, 2025, unidentified human remains were discovered in the Cibola National Forest by a hunter. This location was east of the Sandia Man Caves in a very remote area not utilized by hikers. Based on information recovered at the scene, New Mexico OMI and the Oklahoma State University Center for Health Services made a positive DNA match between Mr. Ramirez and his mother. The Sandoval County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Unit discovered that Hector was roaming New Mexico the last few years as a homeless person. There were previous reported contacts with Hector in Las Cruces, Navajo Nation, and the Albuquerque West Side Emergency Shelter. Hector's mother last seen and spoke with him in 2017 while he was residing in El Paso, Texas. Hector was diagnosed with schizophrenia. All evidence suggests that Hector may have become disoriented in the mountains and likely died from exposure. Hector Ramirez was not reported as a missing person. Hector's cause and manner of death was ruled undetermined by OMI. The Albuquerque Field Office of the FBI Emergency Response Team, the Sandoval County Fire and Rescue K-9 team, who's sitting here, and New Mexico OMI assisted in recovering Mr. Ramirez. The third case the third is a missing person case of Jeanette Dela Cruz and her identification. On November 15, 1999, unidentified female human remains were discovered on Cabazon Road, approximately 4 miles west of U.S. Route 550 near San Isidro. There was extensive animal scavenging with these remains. For 26 years, the identity of this female remained a mystery. In June of 2025, with the assistance of Othram Labs of the Woodlands, Texas, These remains were positively identified as Jeanette Dela Cruz by use of DNA. Jeanette's cause and manner of death were ruled undetermined at the time of her autopsy. Jeanette was last seen in her father's apartment in Albuquerque on October 20th, 1999, with 44-year-old Fred Granville. Jeanette was 19 years old when she went missing. Mr. Granville was an Albuquerque businessman who lived in Corrales. Jeanette's father, Christopher Dela Cruz, filed a missing persons report with Corrales PD on October 27, 1999, as he had not heard from Jeanette and was unable to locate her at the Granville residence. Detective Sergeant John Colvin of the Corrales PD and I conducted this joint investigation into Jeanette's disappearance and subsequent death. We conducted numerous interviews, some with assistance of out-of-state law enforcement agencies. We'd like to thank the following agencies for their assistance: New Mexico OMI, Albuquerque PD Intelligence Unit, Portland, Oregon Police Bureau detectives, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE, and Sheriff Richard K. Jones and his detectives of the Butler County Sheriff's Office of Hamilton, Ohio. Without their help, we would not be here today with this case. Jeanette was a troubled youth who became addicted to illicit drugs in her mid to late teens. Mr. Granville and one of his associates, Derek L. Smith of Albuquerque, were also known to use illicit drugs. After speaking with several witnesses and prior associates, it was determined that Jeanette likely died from a suspected heroin-cocaine overdose in Fred Granville's Corrales residence on Nobles Lane. New Mexico OMI indicated that Jeanette's toxicology findings could be consistent with an overdose. Fred Granville and Derek Smith recently admitted that Jeanette overdosed and was discovered in a bathtub. Granville and Smith admitted they panicked, wrapped Jeanette's body in a blanket, and drove her to public lands to bury her remains. Granville admitted they were interrupted by an unknown vehicle and they fled the area, leaving Jeanette on the ground. Their statements are supported by a police informant in 2010. This particular informant reported that Fred Granville told him in early 2000 that a girl overdosed in his apartment and he and another person buried her. After 26 years, Jeanette was laid to rest on November 17, 2025 in Albuquerque. Jeanette would have been 46 years old. The 13th Judicial District's Attorney's Office reviewed this case and declined prosecution of Fred Granville and Derek Smith based on insufficient evidence in the age of the incident. We hope that solving this 26-year-old mystery brings some kind of closure and peace to the Dela Cruz family. Before we take any questions, I would like to update you on two cases previously disseminated to the media: the 2001 suspicious death case of Kimo Mahi and the 2023 Sandoval Star case. Both remain open cases. Progress has been made in the Sandoval Star case, and there will be a future joint FBI media event occurring in early spring. So at this time, I'll take some questions. Yes, ma'am. Well, some of these cases, especially the ones that date back to 1999, we have missing person cases that date back to the 70s. We have homicides that date back to the 70s. These cases are difficult because people are passing away. Evidence is lost or damaged. People move, as you can see in Jeanette's case. You know, we had to interview people in Portland, Oregon. Detective Colvin and I flew to Ohio to interview Mr. Granville. So people move, people die, people forget about certain things. It costs money to have DNA testing done, so we have to find alternate sources to help pay for these. And there's a lot of it out there. You just got to know where to look. So that's why these cases remain unsolved, And you got to have a detective that knows, has a little bit of experience, and also know where to look for this funding. And it helps that the sheriff has allowed me to dedicate most of my time to some of these cases. So that's why we've had a lot of success. I do take current cases, but my main focus are these cases.
Identify new information or new data, or review previous data and maybe even evidence that you guys had previously?
Well, in this case, we had an unknown female for 26 years at my department, at the sheriff's office. We were able to get funding to do DNA testing on her remains. They give you a report of possible family members. Othram Labs in Texas did a great job. They do a great job all the time. They give you a report and say, hey, interview these individuals. They could be a match with your person, with your unidentified person. So in this case, Othram said that Christopher Dela Cruz was more than likely a parent of this individual. And Mr. Dela Cruz just so happened to have a daughter missing. So when I met with him and he agreed to give a DNA sample, he wasn't quite sure that this was actually Jeanette, because he had information that she had been seen later than 2000 in Albuquerque, which was erroneous information. So it worked out. Thank goodness we were able to bring closure to his family, and he's been wondering for 26 years where his daughter is. So it was a highly successful case. Also, that Sergeant Colvin and I were able to look these suspects in the face and say, hey, what happened? So we got a little lucky on that too.
You mentioned that a lot of these are expensive, time-consuming. How do you guys figure out which cases get the necessary resources to start that process of further investigating? Because I imagine you guys have a lot of cold cases.
Well, as I said, we, as far as the unidentified human remains, we have one case remaining, and I was actually doing some interviews and collecting DNA on that 2 days ago. So it's just what we have. My goal was to identify all these people. We do have additional missing people. We have additional homicides, that go back to the 70s. So you just have to prioritize which one of these cases you're going to be working on. Yes, ma'am.
When you clear that plate, so to speak, and get that last case figured out, what are you going to move on to? Those other homicides, those missing persons cases?
Well, we kind of work on all these cases as we go, because sometimes I had to put Jeanette's case down and work on the other cases that we get as possible. I will just say, in Jeanette's case, we were pretty deep into it. We were getting ready to fly to Ohio, and then we got a DNA match with another case. So you just have to prioritize and, look at your time management and work on these cases as you go.
What kind of reception do you receive from friends and family, once you're able to get more information and maybe give them that closure?
In Mr. Dela Cruz's case, like I said, he initially didn't think this would be a match because of erroneous information he received before. But he's very happy. He has some closure. He was able to bring his daughter home and bury her with her grandmother. So, we don't get a lot of feedback. We have a dedicated Facebook page and all that. We do get people that are interested in these cases, and I do get calls occasionally from like online sleuths and other detectives. Like in Sandoval Star's case, we had a detective from the East Coast call, and he thought it was Sandoval Star could have been a missing person from his jurisdiction. But we do get a lot of interaction, especially with the media's help. And we do appreciate your help, because in some of these cases, they're older, or even the more recent cases like Mr. Overton or Hector Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez was kind of a loner, so if this gets out to the media and someone knew Mr. Ramirez, we'd like to hear from them to see when their last contact was with him. So we appreciate your assistance. Anything else?
And I'm just curious, since some of these cases are older, you mentioned that there was even some cases in the 70s, what keeps you guys motivated and continuing looking for information and reviewing facts? What kind of continues to drive that?
It's just something as a detective I'm interested in doing. I have, and I'm fortunate the sheriff has allowed me time to work specifically on these cases. So you just got to have someone that's interested, and you open up these case files and blow off the dust, and you try to make a difference. And just like in Jeanette's case, 26 years, her father lived in the same apartment with the same home phone number, hoping that she would call. So you can imagine the relief that he feels. So that makes my job rewarding. Anything else? Okay, thanks for everybody coming today. We appreciate it. And we'll have that update on Sandoval Star sometime in the next probably 30 to 60 days or early spring. Appreciate it.